So today we're not looking at resolutions, but rather how to make a healthier and stronger you as we go into a new year. It's not about a new you, but a better, healthier you. And we're going to look at ways to implement strategies that are realistic, practical, that meet you where you are at to ensure that the year ahead and beyond are just simply better, healthier, and more balanced. The first thing we're going to look at is the aspect of simply be kind to yourself. Be kind to you. We can so often be the harshest judge and critic to ourselves than anybody else. We can beat ourselves up constantly without even realizing the extent of it. And with that, it's taking time, instead of looking at our shortcomings, where we should be, where we should have been, it's meeting ourselves in the present and going from there. It's aiming to replace negatives with positives. It's looking at constructive criticism and feedback and the aspect of just being kind. A lot of us have an easier time being kind to other people and don't even realize that we're harder on ourselves than anybody else. So I don't know where you're at with this, but I know there's been different times in my life where I have been unkind to myself, where I found myself comparing myself to other people, or where I'm at right now in my life and where I think I should be. And what it can end up doing is putting ourselves in a position where we put ourselves down. We disallow the verbal, the emotional, the psychological validation of saying, this is where I'm at and I am wonderful and I am awesome. Are there things we need to work on? Always and forever. But being less unkind to ourselves and being a little bit more forgiving, taking a deep breath and allowing ourselves to say, it's time to be kind. Do the people around you provide encouragement, positive, constructive criticism in terms of lifting you up and things you need to work on? Or are you beaten down? Is it mostly negative and sarcastic? Or do you have people that are making you feel better about yourself? What types of things are you absorbing throughout the course of your day? What are you listening to on the radio? What type of podcasts are you listening to? Goodness, Chick, good job, by the way. We can too often spend more time exposing ourselves to things around us without realizing how much time we're actually exposing ourselves to these things, where we could say, well, I listen to that, or I hear that, or I'm around this, and I know better, or it's not impacting me. And the truth is, we hear things enough with a negative undertone. We hear things enough that just are kind of belittling and just cause us trigger these states of self-questioning and doubt. It is absorbed. It is time to be kind to yourself, and maybe it's time right now to revamp what you are absorbing on a daily basis that is impacting how you treat yourself and going from there. And that is a beautiful thing. This brings us to the second point of looking at laughing more. Too many of us are so caught up in this web, this tangled web of adulting, we can take life so seriously. There's nothing wrong with being serious about life and doing our best and pushing forward with life, but we can miss out on actually living life when we're so absorbed with doing life. Not sure if you get that, but it's so true that we can just be so serious. When is the last time you just laughed? You wore a smile to a point that your face hurt and you allowed yourself just to live. Laugh, enjoy life, meet yourself where your heart is filled with senses of joy and goodness and happiness, and watch a movie that just makes you laugh, or have a conversation with that somebody who just makes you happy. May we just not spend most of our days investing in things that are not worth investing in. Let's not overlife life. May we always strive to grow. There is at no point should we be stagnant where we're just kind of like doing life. We're on that stationary bike and we're pedaling and we're going and you're not going anywhere, right? And doing that, when you have any kind of body of water that's stagnant over time, it gets funky, it gets gunky, it gets smelly. Don't be it. So what does that mean to you? In what areas of your life can you grow? In what areas of your life can you begin, if maybe it's been a long time or maybe you've never had that, hungry for life? Challenge yourself and grow. And this isn't, again, going back to where we're unkind to ourselves and we're like, oh, I should be here and I should have done this. Throw that out the window, recycle it, pitch it. Where are you now? And get excited. This is a new chapter, a new time. This isn't about resolutions. This is about you. I believe that always. If we just sit, if we're just complacent to funky, I'll be a dangerous place to be in. Always desire to be better. And to that is a really, really cool thing. And what does that look like for you? What areas do you desire growth? Write it down. And you'll be surprised at how many more things you'll realize, oh, wait, I want to work on this. Oh, and this triggers this thought. And that's a really cool domino effect kind of thing. The last one I want to throw at you, have a bucket list. Have a bucket list for this upcoming year. I want a 6-month and a 12-month. Too often we associate bucket list with, I'm going to die. Well, guess what? Like at some point you are going to die. You will take your last breath. Every day, the present is a gift. It is not a given. So do not get distracted or muddled in this false thinking that you have a really long time. I hope you live to be 99.7. I truly do, but you might not. You could live to be 99.7 and still put off living. Have a bucket list. Do you have a bucket list? I don't. Okay, make one. That's super awesome. And whether that's by yourself, it's with your spouse, it's with your kids, it's with your roommates, it's with people that you work with, your peeps. Get excited. And when we start thinking about things we kind of like want to do, we get like, wow, I've always wanted to do that. Instead of thinking, I can't, I don't have time for that. And this is where that laughter, that excitement about life, that growth desire all intertwine. A bucket list could be, something that is just goal oriented, and it could be working on learning a new language. It could be pursuing a new line of work, taking a pottery class, or I want to run a 5K, or whatever. There's a bazillion things, but it's got to be something that you desire to do. It's got to be something that you are like, you know what, I've wanted to do this. And realistic, right? Realistic. If you're like, I want to scale Everest by the end of the year. Well, that's awesome, but that's not going to happen because with that comes lots and lots of training. You could say, in the next 5 years, I want to do Everest, which by the way is spectacular and breathtaking, amazing. But you have to work up to that, which is something you could do. But what about right now? Right? What about right now? Well, what can help you eventually climb Everest is maybe throwing a 5K 3 times a year, and I'm going to work on making that happen. And then it's going to be a 10K. What do you want to get excited about life? Stop being dusty and complacent and start getting excited. And life can be really, really hard sometimes. Life can feel like you are in a state of maybe dustification. If we don't try to work on ourselves, if we don't give ourselves permission to be kind to ourselves, breathe deeply, and just live, life can seem super long and more uphill than anything else. And it does not have to be that way. Our mindset, having a game plan is important. And it can happen, but it's up to us to take that first step. It is up to us. And you can do it, my friends. And I believe in this pursuit of mental wellness. And I'd love for you to consider checking out this video. If you enjoyed today's video, rock it out. Give today's video a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. And wishing you today, my friends, a tremendous amount of peace, love, and goodness.